Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pitch Perfect. We are a flesh and blood podcast that aims to educate, empower, and support the female community in flesh and blood. I'm your host, Elaine. Hi, and we also have Melody, as always.
Kia ora.
And today we are joined by Mara and Kiki as well. Say hi, guys.
Hey, everyone.
All right, so this week we're very tired. We all just came from playing in nationals. I drove 13 hours. Yeah, well, yeah, 3 of us did. I drove 13 hours yesterday, so today we're just kind of hanging out, talking, recapping our nationals weekend. We've had Mara and Kiki both on the podcast before, so if you have not checked out those episodes, you should check them out because they are both amazing humans. Mara is a fantastic altarist. Her work on Twitter, Blackwing Studio. It's amazing. Go there for all your altarist needs. And Kiki does a lot to support the LGBTQ plus community in Flesh and Blood, also running their Rainbow Foil Discord. So make sure you check them both out. But yeah, without further ado, we're going to dive into it. This past weekend, we had U.S. Nationals, which was won by Michael Hamilton on Icelander, and also New Zealand Nationals, which was won by Matt Rogers on Oldham, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
Good. We got that right. So,
yeah,
let's talk about it. Mara, you played in U.S. Nationals as well as I did. So, yeah, how was your weekend?
So I felt pretty happy with my weekend. I ended 9-5 overall, 65th place, which was which was a mood.
That's so. What an amazing finish, but also just like right on the bubble, which I'm so sorry about.
That's been my legacy is just a string of 9th place finishes across this game. It's been just a standard. Like I told the rest of my group I got 65th, and everyone's just like, yeah, that seems about right.
Rude.
No, I mean it's fine. It's been a running joke for our group for a while. But even still, like even besides the 65th place, I was overall pretty happy with my performance. I went 5-1 in draft, 4-4 in CC. Although I learned a really valuable lesson in day 1 of CC. So at the end of the draft rounds, we had three draft rounds, and I was on camera for the 3rd draft round, and then we had a lunch break. But because I was on camera, we kind of ran a little bit long, so I had a kind of shorter lunch break. And so I was like trying to just hurry and get a little bit of food, and I'm vegetarian, so I just ran over to the concession stand, and I was like, all right, what vegetarian options do you have? And they're like, we have nachos and French fries. And I'm like, oh, so my lunch was French fries. That was my whole lunch. And so like towards the end of the day on Friday, I was just kind of brain fogged, and I don't think I played as well as I could. I think I made a couple of pretty silly mistakes on some things, and just wasn't really focused and wasn't really paying attention, and that's kind of on me. And that's I think a really big lesson to take for anyone is just, make sure mental health and mental acuity are so important to a game like this, especially in these big long grindy matchups or these big long grindy games. Like, take care of yourself, eat well, sleep well, bring snacks, and I think if I'd taken better care of myself, I would have played a little bit better. But aside from that, I'm overall pretty happy with the performance on the weekend.
Yeah, no, you had a great performance. Even played some awesome games on stream, but so congratulations. Kiki, how about you?
I was pretty happy with the stream game. I'm sure it's gonna come up.
Yeah, definitely. How was your weekend, Kiki?
It was fun. So my store was also the organizers of the event.
Yes.
So I was running kind of back and forth between like playing in the event and then also helping run it at the same time. And I did do okay. I finished the first day at 5-4, which meant that I was still alive to cash on the second day. but I got the opportunity to do some commentary instead. So I figured I'd give that a go, which was a lot of fun. I worked with Mr. Classic and Newsom, so both of whom were involved or are still involved with LSS. And yeah, it was a really great time, kind of just like being on that side of the stream and of the event. I got to talk about other people's like how they played. I got to like analyze their plays a little bit. Something I haven't really done before at an event. So it was really exciting to be able to do that. Yeah, and other than that, it was just a lot of taking signups for people and like being in this weird position of like I was playing and now I'm technically working, even though I have the day off. But it's cool. We had like an after party afterwards.
Yes.
So we managed to organize some food and drinks for the judging staff. It was really nice and lovely. And then things just got a little bit hectic at karaoke and also at the bar we were at before the karaoke. Although like the karaoke wasn't like store affiliated. That was me and my friend Adam Little trying to organize New Zealanders to get together and sing some like Robbie Williams and Nicki Minaj.
All right. I am so jealous. First of all, congratulations on casting. That is awesome. I love seeing more diversity in the casting booth. I'm going to go back and watch the streams from this weekend. Like, I didn't get to do that yesterday because I was driving all day. But I really want to go back and watch that. Also,
I do too. I'm super excited to watch your stream, Kiki.
Thank you.
We did not karaoke at U.S. Nationals, which
it was a travesty.
It was a travesty. So at Worlds, we are going to karaoke because literally we all went to get ice cream Sunday night. We went to dinner and then we went to go get ice cream, and then they were like, "All right, good night. Like, love you guys. See you at the next event." And I just said, Are we ending this weekend without karaoke? Like another event with no karaoke? Seriously, guys. So it's fine. I'm not upset. We were all very busy and it was a great weekend. But at Worlds, Worlds
karaoke has to happen.
Adam and I are going to be there.
This is a call out podcast now.
This is a call out podcast. We are calling people out. World's karaoke is going down. It's got to happen. I mean, you guys will both be there. Az is going to be there. He was very involved in the karaoke that happened at Pro Tour Lille, so we're calling him out for karaoke. Flake also karaoke. Everyone, whoever, all of our listeners, karaoke. We're calling you out anyway.
Flake talks a big karaoke game, but I've not seen it yet. So
I've not seen it yet either. You know, he does talk a big karaoke game. He's talked a big karaoke game since Pro Tour New Jersey, and it still has not happened. So
we're gonna make it happen.
See. Yeah, we're gonna make it happen.
I'm just saying, I don't believe that the Flake karaoke video exists.
I don't either. You know, at Pro Tour Lille, I'll say this. Pro Tour Lille, they said, which is the only big event that I've missed. They said, we're going to karaoke at Pro Tour Lille. And I said, they've said that at every event, and they have not karaoke. Well, apparently, allegedly, they karaoke. Allegedly. Because they said, we're going to karaoke. I said, okay, I want videos. They said, we've got you. So many videos. The videos exist. They're there. But they've never been posted.
Nope, never seen a one.
They've never been sent to me. They've never been posted.
It's all a conspiracy.
It is. I think it's all a conspiracy.
It's all a conspiracy just to make Flake's karaoke game look better.
Yeah, because they said it was going to happen and it didn't. And they said there would be videos, and they still claim there are videos, but they're where are they? Where are they?
Where are the videos, Flake?
We'll just have to make some new ones. We'll make sure he's there. Do we need to come up with a punishment if he doesn't do it?
Oh god!
Like we're essentially calling him out, like on the internet. We have to put some stakes on here.
Some stakes, yeah. I don't have any ideas for what we could do. Let me think about that. But I'm willing to put some stakes on it.
Something for the viewers to think about, maybe.
Yeah, something for the viewers. That's a good one. Viewers, if you have any stakes for karaoke at Worlds, for those who did not participate,
this is gonna go so badly.
This is what happens when we just wing it. Okay, all right.
I feel like we need a competition for this. That would be fun.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, competition. Yeah, yeah. Also, yeah.
Have you given out your Fall Brawl ticket yet? I think we have new
Scratch it. New contest.
New contest. Who can find the worst punishment for Flake for not going to karaoke at Worlds?
Oh.
Okay. Let's. All right. Melody.
Yes.
How was your weekend? Watching from home. How was your weekend? Did you get to watch?
I watched some.
Any coverage?
Yeah, I watched. I didn't get to watch any of the US coverage. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you.
No. Yeah. No, but I watched one of your streams that you casted on Kiki, and I was like, Kiki, it's Kiki. But I don't know if you guys are watching. I can't remember which match it was. I watched a couple.
I think did you comment on it?
Yes.
So did you comment on the Twitch stream? Yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah.
And I think you were on with Kieran. I really enjoyed the matches. I was trying to get in some US matches, but I was so tired, and because I started so early in the morning, so I've got a lot of catching up to do. But had Armory, won another Armory. I'm like 2 in a row now, so I'm pretty excited. Just need to level up to Skirmish. Then, Pro Quest, I've got my little goals set.
Yes.
We believe in you.
Yeah. So it was a good weekend. Missed out on Nats, but I'm gunning to get. I've been talking to our LGS because we've got I think we average at least 12 people at our LGS for armories each week, and it's just growing. It's getting huge, and I'm awesome. trying to get people together because they're not highly competitive. But I'm like, right, I want at least half of us at Nats next year, so I'm really pushing to try to, because we've got some great players, to get some of our crew into Nats next year. But yeah, that was me. I was really interested to learn about Prism, Kiki. Prism at Nats. Young Prism.
Oh, are we gonna talk about Prism at Nats?
Yes.
Okay, so we can talk about Young Prism if you like.
Yes.
I don't know if LSS want me to talk about Young Prism at Nationals.
Are we not supposed to? Are we not supposed to talk about Young Prism at Nats?
There's a reason why Prism was never shown on camera during the New Zealand Nationals event.
Oh gosh.
I don't know too much about that in particular, but so basically what happened was a player from outside my city wanted to join the last chance qualifier. He already prepaid and everything, so it was all good. I'm sitting at the counter, checking everyone in, asking for deck lists, and he just turns to me and he's like, "Do you want to see something really exciting?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay, go on, show me." And he picks up an empty deck list, and he just writes the word Prism in the hero slot, and then winks at me and walks away. And I'm like, "This is sick. This is so cool." Because obviously Prism Sculptor of Arclight isn't legal in Classic Constructed anymore. But he just wrote Prism. So I'm just thinking to myself, hold on, actually though? And I tell some of my friends, and I'm like, yeah, Luminaris isn't legal either. That's also Living Legended. So we're just like, is he on Iris? And then I walk over to the table that he's sitting at. He's writing his deck list out. And there I see it. There's 39 blues or something. And almost no yellow cards other than auras. And I'm just like, this is wild. So he's playing this LCQ at his first matchup is Phi, and he told me when he was writing his deck list that the aggro matchups are the worst for him. And then he proceeds to win the game anyway. He just had 2 auras out that were attacking for 5 each because of Shimmers of Silver? Is that what it's called? I can't remember. The +1 counter one.
Yeah, Shimmers.
Yeah, Shimmers.
Yeah, so he's attacking for 5 because his auras had a +1 counter on them, and his 5 just had to block with every card in his hand every turn. And then we're just like, look, the Prism took a game. And then the Prism took another game. And then Prism took another game. And suddenly it was in the finals of the LCQ. And it's like top 4 qualifiers, but Young Prism is actually going to be in nationals this year. So we get to the second day, and this Young Prism player is obviously still playing this deck. He's committed to it. He's committed to the idea. And he ends up making day 2 with a 6-3 record.
Was any of that draft, or was that all CC?
It was 3 CC and then 6 draft. So it wasn't entirely classic constructed.
Yeah.
To win nationals, you got to be good at multiple formats. But
what was his CC record? Do you know?
Sorry.
What was his CC record? Do you know?
I believe it was 3-0.
Oh, it was only 3 rounds of CC in day 1?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I believe it was 3-0. I'm not 100% sure, but I think my friend lost to him in round 3, and my friend was undefeated at that point.
Who was that, Kiki?
Yeah, I think.
Who was your friend?
Who? Oh, my friend was Adam Little, the same one who organized the karaoke with me.
Yep.
I think. I hope I didn't just incorrectly call him out, or who knows. But yeah, no, I checked the results at the end of day 2, and the Prism player hadn't won any games in day 2. So I think it was just kind of the case of the deck was really good when I think Matt Rogers talked about it. The deck was really good when people. Yeah, we all know, right?
Matt Rogers
when you
ignore
the auras and just try to be aggressive, then the auras kind of come back at you, and you're being attacked for 1 billion damage, that kind of idea. So I think by the second day, when people had
cottoned
this
to
the top tables, they kind of figured it out. And also, you're playing against the best of the best on the second day. So it kind of makes sense that they kind of figured out how to attack this angle more,
Yeah.
But yeah, that was Young Prism at a Classic Constructed event. It was kind of a surprise. There was a lot of people like myself that loved it and found it amazing and hilarious. And there was even more people that were mad because they were Guardian players and they were losing to this Young Prism again, despite the fact that she had
I want Young Prism LL points at CC now.
If we were talking about is if she got to the top 8, I think there was 3 Briar decks and there was a potential path for her to dodge all of them. And then if she hypothetically won, she'd have more Living Legend points than Azalea in Classic Constructed, despite being a young hero. Actually, I think New Zealand Nationals is 100 points, maybe?
Yeah, I think Nationals. No, it's Nationals.
Some number of points.
I know 40. US Nationals was a few hundred points, I think, for the CC her, and then no. Yeah,
I think that's right. So I think it would have been
no, I think maybe it was 100. Maybe it was 100 for US Nats, and then I don't know what New
40?
Zealand Nats was.
It was less than. It was about half at most, I think. Either way, Azalea's on 0, so it's not a very high bar.
Azalea, adult Azalea.
Poor Azalea.
That's going to change.
I'm just waiting for Azalea. I've been waiting for Azalea to get just the most busted card in Dynasty. Because we know that she's getting something in Dynasty. I'm waiting for her just to get just the most busted thing, and it just completely changes the deck. And now it's I want to see the Azalea meta.
Well, there was I forget which country it was, but there was someone who top 8'd with an Azalea.
Was that Poland? I did hear about that too. Yeah, there was an Azalea top 8. I think.
Melody still looks shocked.
Oh no! How did this happen? Whoa! Okay.
It was a very exciting deck they don't really see nowadays, but it was very much a second or third cycle deck where you kind of pitch your deck to be exactly the order you need it to be, and you're blocking out with every other card.
Right.
And then you're playing 3 of a kinds and tri-shots and just activating your and was it 2 Rain Razors and then activating your Death Dealer to attack enough times to knock out your opponent in 1 turn.
Yeah, right. You kind of pitch all your arrows early on and just block out, so then your second cycle is just kind of arrows and exactly what you need.
Yeah, right? Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's crazy.
I know.
My weekend was exciting, but not. But not. Why is that so funny?
I'm thinking about your weekends. What you just told me. Sorry.
Okay.
You
So
need to tell everybody.
I played in nationals on Friday, and I didn't do well, which is fine. I wasn't expecting to. I did not put in the testing and practice that I needed. I've been very busy lately, but that's about what I expected. Well, Saturday I was gonna play the calling, and then Sunday the battle hardened, and have myself a fine, fun weekend. Well, Friday night I like gave myself a concussion and maybe broke my nose. So
What?
Kiki's face.
so then I
That was my
you can
face,
like
Kiki.
see like my nose. I have like makeup on, and you can still like see like my nose is bruised and bumped. I hit myself in the face with a door. I'm
That's the
for
with
all,
a door.
for all,
That's
for
always
all
the
the
excuse.
listeners out there have not met me in person. I am a very clumsy person. I'm kind of known for injuring I've broken, let's see. I've chipped my skull before. I've broken my nose before this also. Uh those were both cheerleading accidents. I've broken my wrist. That was because I fell in a fountain. I broke 2 ribs skiing before, and I've broken my
gosh.
foot because I got really into a game of spoons one night. I was playing spoons, right? And I was like really after that spoon, and I ended up like diving off the table for the spoon
Oh
and
my
breaking my foot.
gosh.
Anyway, so
Elaine Hammondtree, known for pickles and injuries.
no,
Yes.
yeah, it's true. It's true. So yeah, I pulled a door right into my face. I was like leaning this way, like to scan my card to unlock the door, and I pulled it like boom right into my
Oh
face,
my
and
gosh.
knocked like didn't literally knock myself out, but knocked myself out. Gave myself a
Oh,
concussion. Was not okay. Anyway, talked to my doctor, and I didn't play the calling Saturday. Needless to say, I was like not doing all right. So I just slept in. Did not set my alarm. Melody's texting me. She's like, "Are you even at nationals? Did you even go?" I'm like, yes, I'm here. I'm just barely
Oh,
functioning. So I got into my cosplay and just kind of hung out at the venue, and I won a Taylor card. So that was really exciting. That was like the best,
that is
honestly, the best thing
awesome.
that could have come out of the weekend.
congratulations.
Thank you so
Congrats.
much. I
Yeah, if it
was
was gorgeous too.
Thank you. I did the sash of Santa Kai. There's pictures on. I need to like post. I just
There are not
haven't.
nearly enough pictures of that whole costume contest. There were so many
There were.
incredible costumes.
There
Like
There
were.
were.
I
Yes.
almost feel bad. Like we needed like an 8th place to still win things because like it
There
was
were.
all just beautiful costumes all the way down.
I completely agree. I mean, I was when they called my name, I was like, "Are you?" I literally said to the lady, "I was like, are you sure?" Like, there's so many amazing cosplayers here. So I felt very honored. And Adam D in our Discord, Moonsign Man, he did the Ragamuffins hat at Pro Tour New Jersey, and then he did the Null Rune, full set of Null Rune, and his was UV activated, and I worked with
It
him,
was
so like
so
they did like the
cool.
little break. So like he was just up there in his Null Rune, and it looked like he was just wearing regular cloak and boots and stuff. And then I like got on my knees and hit him with the UV light, and it like all glowed, and the audience was like, "Whoa!" And it was so cool.
It was
And then
really cool. Like that was some impressive work.
the Frightmare one was just
Frightmare.
incredible,
Oh my god.
amazing.
The Frightmare was nightmare inducing. They were
It
so
was
good.
it was so good. Her name was also Elaine
Elaine.
Erickson, I believe.
Mhm.
And then there was a Yorick there, and he played like his little instrument. I don't know what instrument it was that he had with him. A lute, maybe.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna look really dumb on this podcast. I don't know music.
He was amazing, and then there was 2 Icelanders, 2 Viserais, and Ira. I might be a Dash. The Dash
was gorgeous.
The Dash was
gorgeous
too. There was a Viserai fanboy that was hilarious.
I saw that. That was weird, and it freaked me out.
And he had. There's a video of it. I hope it circles on Twitter sometime.
I've seen it.
He had a speaker and he played "I Need a Hero" and he had a whole dance. It was so funny. I was dying laughing.
I think Logan from Flesh and Blood has that video. I think.
Yes. Tommy from Fresh and Buds might have it also. Anyway, someone has it, and
it's on Twitter. I've seen it on Twitter.
Okay, I haven't been on Twitter. I mean, I was in the car all day yesterday, and then today I've just been doing nothing. Anyway, so so that was my day on Saturday. I had the most amazing day. Won the Taylor card. Played some Flesh and Blood just casually with friends and people I met at the venue. And then Sunday, I played the Battle Hardened, which was a draft Battle Hardened. Did not do well in that either, which was fine. But I ended up dropping it to open a case of Alpha with some friends, Alpha WTR.
Yes.
And we opened a cold foil heart of P&L.
Yeah,
and
we all heard. Literally everyone in that venue heard. It was so loud.
Yeah, I think we interrupted like the Battle Hardened and every event because like we were just sitting there videoing ourselves opening it and then pulled the heart and everyone just like hands on their heads, scream, walk away. Like, what do we do now?
It was incredible.
Before you knew it, there was like a bunch of other people around us. Like, what's going on? What did y'all pull? It was funny. Then the vendor came back and the vendor was like, oh, sorry, I sold you guys the wrong box. I'm going to need that back. We're like, oh yeah, let's pack it all back up. No.
Yeah, just put it back in the box. We'll get a different one. It's fine.
Yep. And so then, we ended the day with Mara. You were in that. It was like Flake, DM Armada, Mara, Logan, some other people. We drafted some WTR just for fun. Then we all went to dinner, got some ice cream, and there was a robot. And I
no.
Tell us about the robot, the Dalek.
I think we have to talk about the robot. There
was this robot. Have you heard about it?
It was like this robot. Kiki, have you heard about this?
No.
Oh God, freaky.
Oh God. It's so scary. Blake sent something in our Discord yesterday, but there was this robot. It was like it was apparently a cop that like just watches, and if it sees crime, it calls 911. Allegedly. Anyway, I was like, I'm not gonna commit a crime, but I was like, I want to test this out, see if the robot works. But it was disturbing. It was like this. It was this robot. It was probably like shoulder height to me.
Oh my God! It was
just like giant evil Roomba covered in cameras.
Yeah, it was covered. And the cameras all the way around it, and it would just like, and it would like stop and like turn and look at you, and like,
so creepy.
Mara and I would be like sitting there eating our ice cream mid conversation, and then the robot would just like come
behind you,
look at us, and Mara had this amazing hat she would hide behind, and I had Flake's jacket. I would just like hold it up in front of the robot, like, don't look at us.
Oh my gosh, it was so like you'd just be like, we were just sitting there where there's like we had a bunch of us just having this good conversation, having a blast, and then you just like out of the corner of your eye, you just see this thing, this just. It's just
our audio only listeners, Mara.
Yes.
Oh right, I forgot we have audio only listeners.
Was this robot at the venue? At the competition?
No. This was wherever the ice cream place was.
Yeah, it was like close to the venue in like this little park. It was scary.
Weird.
I remember one point, like Mara was sitting across from me, and I was just mid sentence, and Mara goes, "Oh God, don't turn around! It's right behind you!" And I just started crying. I was like, "Oh no, the robot!" I felt like I was about to be like laser beamed into another dimension. I was like,
So
is that
what
never
Charlotte
seen anything
has
like it
instead of
before.
real cops? Like, is that a Charlotte thing?
I don't know.
I've never seen that before, and it
Oh
was
my gosh.
it was
Traumatizing.
terrifying, and it was
very traumatizing.
It was. I don't think anyone really. I was so happy that Mara, you were there, because I don't think anyone was as impacted by the robot's presence.
Everybody else was unfazed, and it was like, how are you people not just super weirded out by this?
They were unfazed by the robot, and I was like, I'm so happy Mara's here, and like we can freak out about the robot together, because I was so disturbed. I was like, please stop looking at me, stop sneaking up behind me, coming near me, creepy robot.
It was like the most dystopian thing I've ever seen. Like I literally felt like I was in like a sci-fi horror movie. Like I was waiting for this thing to just break out laser guns or something.
Yeah, same. And then they said that it was like a cop, like it was a robot cop, and I was like, oh my gosh.
RoboCop.
And then at one point,
it was a Roomba. It was a giant evil Roomba.
It came up to us, and I was like, what the heck is that robot? And they're like, oh, it's just a robot. And I was like, yeah, but what is its purpose? And Tommy from Fresh and Buds goes, let's hope it never discovers its true purpose. And I was
Skynet.
Skynet!
Oh god. I was like, I mean, like Skynet is online. Like this thing is linked up to like the missile systems. I don't know. I told Elaine, I was like, we were driving home, and I was like, I just have this like nightmare vision that this thing is just slowly like following me home.
Yeah. I was joking. I was like, it's hanging by our group because it identifies Flake as a Canadian.
Foreigner detected.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Our listeners are going to be like, wow, what a mixed bag Pitch Perfect was on this episode.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. They thought they were getting stories about flesh and blood. No, giant dystopian robots. This is this podcast now.
That's like if I like 50 years down the road, if someone's like, you went to U.S. Nationals for Flesh and Blood, what was that like back in 2022? I'm gonna be like, this was a robot. Like, this is terrifying robot there. Like, no.
That's it. I don't remember anything else. Like, I remember I was on camera for like an hour, and then a robot, and that's it. Everything else is a blur.
I got a concussion, won a Taylor card, and then there was a robot there. Like, that's my
gosh. U.S. Nationals is the best event ever.
Oh my gosh, it was great though. Speaking of, okay, let's all highlight of your week. Give us the highlight of your weekend from Nationals, please. Back on track.
Oh my gosh. I think so. Like, I think I had two highlights. Like, I literally think I had my two highlights week were one, just the people I got to hang out with. Like, I mean, we laughed about the robot thing, but like that whole like Sunday night was so much fun. Just getting to see people and hang out. Like, we just had a whole big group of like just a bunch of the casters and a bunch of the podcasters and you know like and just people that I don't get to see very often. And that was amazing. So like it was somewhere between that and then like I did have a camera match. And my camera match went pretty well. It was I was informed that it was a pretty good game. So for anyone who didn't see the game, it was round 3, the final round of sealed or of draft on day 1. I was on Dromai, my opponent was on Phi. And so there's a point in the game where we're both like high mid high life, like there were like 15s ish, give or take, and I'm looking at my hand and I have a red Ember Maw Senpai and a red Rake the Embers and then like 2 other cards, and I'm just like, whatever, hit me with everything you got. I'm gonna just have a massive turn next turn. Like, just hit me with everything. I don't care. I'll take it all. And so he hits me with everything and then presents exact lethal. And so it makes me have to block with a card, which suddenly takes that turn from like an 11 damage plus 3 Ashwings turn to a 3 damage turn. And so like I was on the back foot pretty hard for a while for that one. Like I think at one point the life total was like 11 or 12 to 1. And I'm just like just trying to survive. Like so I arsenaled the Ember Maw. And I'm like, just try to survive, Let me have that one turn. I knew like we had 5 5s in our draft pods. I was like, I know he's gonna have like that one turn. Like I know his pool has some weak cards in it. Give me that one turn. Give me that one window. And I'm just like, just survive, just full block, attack you for 1, full block, attack you for 1. Just survive. Like I even had I had 2 Fiandals Fighting Spirits and an Oasis Respite just so I could go to 2 so that I could take the Phoenix Flame, go back down to 1. And then finally he has a turn where he's just like, all right, pass turn. And I have 1 card left in my hand and I'm like, no more attacks. And he's like, no more attacks. So then I just slam that Ember Maw as hard as I can. And so he's like looks at his hand and I'm like, okay. So that was the turn. He had a cracked bauble in his hand, which I didn't know, but I knew he had a card that he didn't. He had a card that he did in Arsenal, and I was like, this is either something real bad or it's a popper, and he's just being real confident with a popper. And I was like, I was like, if he has the popper, I can't play around it. There's no way. I'm at 1. I literally can't play around the popper. So I'm like, I just have to hope that he finally hit that weak hand that I've been waiting for, and so I play the Ember Maw. And I'm like in my head, I'm like, okay, he's gonna just take all this damage, go to 1, and then I'm like, okay, then I have to survive 1 more big turn, and then now because I have Ashwings, then the game starts getting kind of interesting if we're both at 1. But then he tanks really hard, and I'm like, why is he tanking? What's going on? Just go to 1 and kill me. What are you doing? And then he ends up full blocking it. He shows me his hand, and it's a brick hand. It's Oasis Respite plus the cracked bauble plus a healing pot or the healing balm and and I think an uprise. He literally did not have an attack action, and I was like, okay, this is the window that I've been waiting on. He has that brick turn. I'm like, I need 1 turn, and so I'm like, all right, I have 1 turn. I need this to be the best draw in my life because this is my window. I have to take this window. And so I'm drawing up this hand and I'm like, please be good. And I'm like, I draw the first card and I'm like, okay, it's a 3 block. It blocks the sword that he's gonna come in for. Block the sword. Okay. And then I see a random blue. I see a Mira guy. And I see a second red Ember Maw. And I'm just doing the math and I'm like, I win this game. So I play the Mira guy and then just attack with the Mira guy plus all of the Ashwings. And he's just take it, go to 4. And then I'm just second red Ember Maw. And from there, I think that was where the game, he blocked it out and went to 1. But at that point, he couldn't present enough threat in that last turn, and I'm at this point now I have a Mira guy plus 3 Ashwings. There's no way unless you can take my entire hand with the 2 cards that you have left. I've got this game locked, and yeah, and so I ended up coming back and winning that game, and no shame on my opponent. He played that game really well. I think some of Twitch chat kind of laid into him for who knows what. Twitch chat is Twitch chat. It's terrible. Never listen to Twitch chat on anything at all. There was a slight where he could have possibly pitched the cracked bauble he had pitched a blue that turn to play a 1 attack and his sword, and some people were well, he could have pitched the bauble first then pitched the other thing, but there's no way he knows that I've got a red Ember Maw. He's just I can hold this cracked bauble and then just guarantee I have a sword swing next turn. So it's questionable on that. But like other than that, I think he played the game really well. He played pretty good. He was a great guy. But it was just a really, really good game, a really close game. And it was one of those games where, like, you always tell people, you're like, look, always play to your outs, no matter how much of a long shot they are. Anytime you get in a bad situation, you need to stop, look at the game state, and say, okay, how do I win this game? What's my angle? Even if it's like, okay, my angle is I survive until he has a brick turn, and hope he has a brick turn. Because that was the play on that game, was literally like, I'm at 1, he's at 11 or 12. The only way I win this game is he has a brick turn. But like, I'm like, that's my out, that's my plan. We full block and we survive and we wait and we wait. And then it hit, and you have to be able to put yourself in the positions to capitalize on mistakes, or not mistakes, on situations like that. Like, if you're not planning that, then like when it does happen, then you can mess yourself up and just not be in the position to capitalize. Yeah, like, I don't know, it was a really good game. I was pretty happy with it. The casters were all pretty excited about it. I've literally like rewatched the cast for that game like 3 times, just because Flake and DM Armada both just do such a great job of making that game feel so exciting. Like, even in those points, those points where like all of Twitch chat is just like, Mara's dead, this game's over, don't bother, just it's done. And like, the casters, like, super credit to the casters for like making sure that like this game stays exciting through every point, like no matter how bleak it starts looking. Yeah, like, it was a super good game. It was super fun. I earned a nickname in that game. I am apparently now the Black Widow of Flesh and Blood.
Ooh.
So yeah, that was Flake. So yeah, we're leaning into this now. Like, I got my spider earrings now. These are
I love it. I love them.
This is what we're doing.
I love it. Yeah, I heard about that game. Like, as soon as it was over, there was like talk just throughout the venue, being like, "Oh my gosh, Mara's comeback that game was incredible. Like, she really played it really well." So I haven't had the chance to go back and watch it, but I am going to. I love going back and watching the streams because, like you said, the casters just do such a great job of bringing like so much energy from the energy like of the venue to the audience at home. So props to you and to them.
Yeah.
How about yourself, Kiki?
I personally didn't have any like super exciting close games like that during the event. I did get 2 maximum velocities off against Sabres Bolton, which was kind of exciting. Sabres Bolton not being a matchup I expected to see, but it happened. And
I played 2 Sabres Boltons at Nationals.
This is wild. I haven't seen the deck for months. But like, I sit down against my round 1 opponent, and he is like, "I'm playing Bolton," and like, my understanding is that my dash deck has all these attacks that block. I'm like, "Oh, I'm just gonna trigger your attacks, and you're just gonna kill me with Raiden." And then he's like, "Yeah, I'm on Bolton." I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm not gonna block. I'm just gonna play this like hyper aggressive deck." And then he shows me 2 weapons. I'm like, "Oh, okay. I guess you're not going to attack me until the end of the game." So that game ended 31-0 because he just never got to his combo turn, and it wasn't relevant.
31-0.
But yeah, it's I blocked one of the attacks that he attacked me with. So
yeah, because Sabres Bolton, if just waits for that Lumina turn, and then
they're pretty much all in on the combo turn.
Yeah, pretty much all in.
But
it was
yeah, the turn that he had, like the double Lumina, was also the turn that I had like 2 Teklo powders with a combustible courier attacking for 8, and then it was like pitching a blue for that, and then it was 0 to 60, 0 to 60, activate Foundry Heart, maximum velocity.
Oh my gosh!
So it just kind of took everything out of his hand, and yeah, the guy was super lovely though. He was just like, "Yeah, I'm here for fun. I flipped a coin to decide what deck I was going to play," and I'm like, "Okay, sure."
Wait, what was his other choice?
He didn't tell me.
Aw.
But that's all right. We had a good time. And then round 2, I played against Georgia from
yes.
Pitch
Yep.
Perfect. And she's got it out for me for some reason. Like, she just really wants to like win against me. So that's kind of our running gag at the moment. Is
We
that
are
she
calling
has
people out today.
And
I'm
then
not calling Georgia out. I love Georgia.
No, she's lovely.
I
But I
love Georgia
was,
too.
at home after the event, and she was like, "When are we going to play Blitz so I can beat you?" I'm like, "Okay, I'm by my laptop. We can play in Teleshard." She's like, "Oh, I don't have my laptop on me." I'm like, "Ah, how unfortunate." But one day she'll get the win for me one day, I believe. But yeah, no, the most exciting point for me, the highlight, I guess, of the actual event itself was probably round 11 when I was doing the casting side of things. And we had an Icelander versus a Briar player. And the Briar player was pretty far ahead throughout the game. But like at the very start, he like played a Channel Mount Heroic, and we're like, oh, this is going to be big. He's going to take a lot of damage. And then there was just a blizzard that stopped exactly enough resources, and he took no damage from the first Channel Mount Heroic. And we're like, oh, cool. Like, didn't realize Icelander had this much like staying power to her kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then a few turns later, another Channel Mount Hero came out, and I think again he had like some sort of like another blizzard, I think it was, or another sort of disruption effect that just stopped him from taking damage from the Channel Mount Heroic. And then he stopped a third Channel Mount Heroic like a few turns after that.
Said maybe hypothermia. That one kills a Channel Mount Heroic turn.
Yeah, it was just like a whole bunch of disruption, and there was like a really exciting play where like he cracked a Ether Ice Vein, the one which is like if this deals arcane damage, you like discard or pay two. And he like used his Wizard Feet, Storm Striders. He used Storm Striders to play
Wizard
that card. Wizard Feet, you know?
Hashtag Wizard Feet.
Wizard Feet.
I love it.
But yeah, no, it was really cool. Like he was down so much life at this point, and like it was just enough tempo, and it was like you were saying about playing to your outs, where like you lose the ability to have an explosive end of the game, but you live, and then you keep him making plays, and he just like slowly grinded away, and like me and Kieran were just like so excited by like how this Icelander was getting back into this game and stopping like exactly enough resources every turn to not lose to this Briar player. So that was probably like the most exciting game I saw. And probably the highlight in terms of like the actual games themselves for me was that one game that I got to cast. But casting as a whole was probably my highlight. It was just such a different experience to what I'm used to.
That sounds like so much fun.
Yeah,
it was so much fun. Trying to figure out what these players are trying to do. Like I get why people like Flake and stuff love to do it and do it more often than they play. Like it was just so much fun trying to figure things out, see where it goes, bring excitement into the game. Yeah, and I guess also got to witness a moment of somebody playing Endless Arrows like 3 times in a turn.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was against the Jeremiah player, and the Jeremiah didn't.
I was about to say I've seen that happen against my Jeremiah several times. Where they're just like arrow a dragon, arrow a dragon, arrow a dragon, arrow a dragon, pass.
Oh no, it wasn't like that.
Oh really?
There was no dragons.
Oh, they just let it hit.
Yeah, so it's like an Endless Arrows for 5 from Arsenal because there was an Art of War giving +1.
Oh
and
gosh.
the Jeremiah player said no blocks, so he's like Snapdragon Scalers, just give it go again. He's like okay, and then he's like Endless Arrows again for 5 with go again or something, and then that didn't get blocked, and then it was like I think Bolton shot. Yeah, it was like it was another Endless Arrows. No, it was the Bolton shot. It was the Bolton shot, and then that got fully blocked, and then he played the Rain Razors, and like my co-commentator was like, "Why didn't he play the Rain Razors sooner? Like he missed down so much damage." And like my first thought was, I just responded, "I'm like, if he plays it sooner, then it gets fully blocked, and his turn's really bad." And then I spoke to the player afterwards about it. He was like off camera, I spoke to the player who made that play, and I was like, "You did that on purpose, right? Like you didn't want to present the damage; you just wanted to force awkward blocks and play around it that way." And he was like, "Yeah, like I lose the game if he just blocks it and the arrows at the start."
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I felt so justified. I'm like, this
That's
guy's
awesome.
like playing for top 8, and I knew what he was up to. Yeah,
Mhm.
maybe I'm okay at this thing. So it was kind of gratifying. I felt really bad though because I ended up speaking about this game to various people, like just around like the venue. And every time I spoke about this game to someone, that player happened to be standing next to me or sitting down next to me, just coincidentally. And I'm just like, I'm so sorry, I keep on bringing this up. Like the Jeremiah player, I mean, like he's just like, and just every
that's
time
funny.
he looked pretty upset and kind of walked to a different part of the venue.
Oh no!
And then you
And
just
then,
followed
like-
him and started talking about it again.
I was the robot.
Yes, Kiki was the robot.
Kiki,
Always
Kiki, did you follow us to Charlotte? Were you in the robot?
Were you inside the robot?
Oh
How
my
tall
gosh.
was the robot again?
It's about your
Like, what do you
height.
say, like 5'7"?
Like 4 foot. Yeah, you could
No.
probably crouch. If you crouched, you could fit in the
If you
robot.
crouch, yeah, it's probably around 4 to 5
It's like
feet
a little
tall.
stool. There's like a little
Yeah.
stool inside it, and it's just Kiki with like a little
It was
joystick.
like pretty big around, like
The
pretty
stool
big.
had wheels. It was really comfortable.
You could definitely. There was definitely a person in that robot now.
Yeah,
Just watching us.
all right,
No.
we're gonna move on from the robot and
Oh my
move
gosh.
to some listener questions. 'Cause the robot makes me uncomfortable. All right. Let's see. Listener questions. I'm just gonna grab one. This one is from Lorraine. An open question. Is there any mechanic from another card game not utilized in Fab that you would like to see?
Oh gosh. There's so many. Like that's a kind of hard. Like I saw when they asked this, and I was trying to think of any like really good specific ones. But like I think this game just has so much room for growth, so much room for development, that it's kind of hard to pick like a single like, oh, I want this specific thing. I will say one of my favorite things. So like I played the Lord of the Rings card game a lot, and it had a really interesting mechanic with its resource. And I don't know a way that like you translate this into Flesh and Blood without making it crazy, but like the way that the mechanic worked in this game was basically on the like the free people's player side, like the when you basically alternate back and forth between playing like the good guys and the bad guys, and when you were on the good guys, you had essentially infinite mana. You could spend as much mana as you wanted on anything at all, but for every point of mana that you spent, you gave the shadow player a point of mana. And it ended up being this super interesting way to do the game because you're like, oh man, I can do all of these really cool, powerful things, but like all of the shadow cards were also like much higher like rate. Like their like rate per point of mana was higher. So you're like, man, I can do all of these really cool, super expensive, powerful things just whenever I want. But like if I do, I'm giving my opponent even more resource to work with. And so like that was always like one of my favorite parts about the way that game played was that balance and tightrope of like, okay, I want to play enough resources to be able to do all the things that I want to do, but like limit myself enough so that I'm not just handed, because if I hand the shadow player like just 1,000 resource, they're gonna kill me. And I could totally see some kind of like a class mechanic that has, or like something that had something in that vein where like you could get extra pitch for something, but like every time you do, your opponent draws a card or something. Could be kind of an interesting and really fun dynamic for like a hero power to have.
Yeah, that could be fun. So it's like an interesting thing to have to balance.
Yeah.
How about you, Kiki? Do you have?
That's a good question for sure.
Yeah.
I haven't played too many of I've mainly played like mainstream card games, I guess, and like most of that kind of stuff is like already like tackled within Flesh and Blood, or I assume will be down the future. Like the kind of like, I suppose like the only thing, or the thing that immediately comes to mind is having like a draw discard type effect or discard draw type effect, kind of like a sink below, but instead of going to the bottom, you actually have the cost of like putting it into the graveyard.
Right.
But that's like almost the same thing, right? As like what already happens. I don't really know. Like, I did that whole thing where I tried to convert Flesh and Blood cards into Magic cards, but I haven't done it the other way around. I don't think of any mechanics. I feel so put on the spot. I wish I read the spreadsheet.
No, it's funny. Yeah, I totally feel. I was the same way. I was like, I should have read most of these questions.
I'm just like, well, half of them are like, go to bed, Kiki.
Most of them are go to bed, Kiki.
I just saw this one. Yeah, I just saw this one, and it just made me laugh because we just talked about it. It's from Georgia, and the question is for Kiki. When are we going to have our Blitz showdown so that you can stop rubbing your undefeated record in my face?
Love Georgia.
I love Georgia. Oh my gosh.
Sometime. I do need to actually practice for Worlds, and Blitz is one of the formats, so yeah. And maybe I'll feel bold enough to like play her in an Icelander mirror. Yeah, I'm calling my shot. I'll win in an Icelander mirror.
I want to see it happen.
I've never played the class in a constructed format, but let's just do it.
All right, let's do it. We have some. Let's see, Ren. These are real questions. No, well. Ren says, "Why are you both so awesome?" But also says, "Were you both nervous about being on stream? Mara as playing and Kiki as casting. How did you feel once the nerves wore off and you came back in your match, Mara, or when you settled into casting Kiki? And did you enjoy it?"
So like, I think there's always a certain amount of nerves when you're on camera, because like, it's very much this like, oh, the eyes of the world are watching like every moment, and we talked about how terrible Twitch chat can be, but like at the same time you're like, oh god, I'm gonna miss a tunic trigger and then be a meme for the next 6 months. Because that's never happened in this game.
It's never happened.
And like it is like you like get so tense about like every single little tiny thing. But especially I felt like it's always like the first 2 or 3 minutes when you sit down, and like there's this like long little thing where like the judge kind of has to go over like, okay, we're doing this on camera, like these are you have to use the dice and make sure that like you're being very clear with like what you're doing and activating, and so like there's all these little extra steps that you kind of have to keep in mind because of the stream. And like for the first like couple of minutes, it's like super tense, and you're like trying to remember 1,000 things. But then the game kind of gets going, and then it sort of all melts away, and you're just like, oh, I'm still just playing the game. I'm still just doing what I'm gonna do, and it kind of, I don't know. It starts to be a little bit more relaxing after a bit, and you're just like, oh, we're just playing this game. But like, there was definitely this part, like, when my game first turned south, and like it's still that big deficit first hit, I was like, I'm gonna get murdered on stream, and the whole world is gonna see me just die. So like I was like a little bit like, oh man, how come it has to end like this? Like, but then at the same time, I think that actually ended up like giving me a little bit more encouragement of like, okay, tighten up, play to my outs. Like I don't want to look bad. I want to at least go out swinging on stream. Like if I've got everyone watching, I want to play the best I can possibly play. And so I think actually it ended up helping me stay focused and helping me stay, because it's always easy, like in any game that starts kind of going badly, it's easy to just be like, oh, this game's lost, it's over, I just don't want to try, I just go through the motions and finish the game. But like being on stream makes you really be like, all right, no, I don't want to give up, I don't want to, I want to at least give everybody a good show and prove that like I'm not just gonna roll over and die. That said, talking about like after the game. Like you can see if you watch the video, like as soon as like the fist bump happens, I just like sink into my chair and I'm just like, oh my god, like just like everything just kind of like crashes in that one moment. Like I was telling people, I was so glad we had lunch right after that because I needed the full hour to just decompress from that game.
Yeah.
Like it was so tense and so much was on it. And I was like, I need this whole hour to just sit and just like unwind before I have to go play games again. Especially going, because that was the last round of draft, and then we were going straight into CC. I was like, I have to go straight from like being in the draft mindset, in that tension, straight into a Dromai Oldham match, which is like the biggest, longest, like most like brain intensive matchup I have. And I won that Oldham matchup, but I needed that full hour before I was able to like function at that level again.
How about you, Kiki?
Yeah, so it was a very last minute thing for me to do commentary. It wasn't something that was completely on my radar at all. I kind of joked about doing it. Like I kind of joked that if I didn't day 2, that I'd ask if I could do commentary. And then when the opportunity arose, I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I have to prepare for it now. So I had the idea that I was going to go home and watch some games and commentary, try to pick up some ideas. Like I wouldn't say nervous, but I was like ready to be prepared, like, kind of work through it, figure it all out, get it all ready. And then I got home and fell asleep on my couch.
You slept? Kiki slept?
Well done,
Kiki.
Kiki.
Kiki, good job. We're so
Good
proud.
job.
Kiki went to
Critically,
bed.
I didn't go to bed. I was on a couch.
Never mind. And it's all out.
You're done.
All goodwill is gone.
Yeah.
You could have lied. You should have lied, Kiki.
I think it was around like midnight or something. I got home. I woke up at like 2 in the morning. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go to sleep because I need to wake up in time to do this commentary thing. And then I woke up and I was like, yeah, I have time to just kind of like chill and relax for a bit. Still didn't watch any games. Got a bit of advice from Kieran and Newson. And then I was like, okay, time to go. And then 2 of my Ubers canceled on me. So suddenly I was like running late, and I managed to get
Stress, yeah.
The players' meeting started at 10:30, and I got into the venue at 10:31, and I was just like sprinting around the venue because I realized I didn't know where the casting room was. But yeah, by the time I got there, it turns out that like my co-caster, his phone broke or something, and as a result, he missed his alarm. So I was like, "Are you just gonna get me to do it, like by myself?" But no, we found someone to do it alongside with me, and yeah, it ended up being okay. Like it wasn't really a nervous experience. Like I kind of felt really in my zone, I guess. Like I was just talking about Fab. Like it just so happened there was a microphone in front of me. I guess it's almost kind of just like when we do the watch parties, like in Pitch Perfect, right? Like
Yeah.
we're just talking about the game that's happening in front of us, except the only response I'm getting is the guy sitting next to me rather than like 5 or 6 or 8 people who also happened to be there. But like it's fine. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I didn't really feel nervous. And regarding to like camera games though, I didn't have any camera games this nationals, but like I have had them in the past before, and like I do kind of get where Mara's coming from with like the pressure of wanting to perform better. I am 1 in 4 in camera games, so it's not great. But yeah, no, like being on camera when you're actually playing and feeling like there's all these people that could be judging you is like a lot of pressure. And like in one of the games I played it, I miscounted how much damage was coming at me. I didn't use my spell void. It triggered his go again, and it just went really bad. And I lost the lethal in my hand. It was like a misplay, and it was kind of jarring. And then I accidentally drew 5 cards on camera, and then called a judge on myself. And like, so like I kind of get from that point. Like that was the finals of the calling. I get it. It's like a really stressful time to be on camera, but whenever I think about camera games, like, or rather, when I think about being in the moment, I kind of find you ignore everything else. Like you say, like whenever I think about playing those games, if it's not somebody else talking to me about it, there's in my mind there's nothing around me. I see the playmat, I see the cards, I see my opponent's hand, and that's about it. Like, I don't know if it's just a mindset that I have versus other people, but like in those camera games, for the most part, I'm just focusing on that and less on the fact that other people are watching me.
No, I felt the same way. Like I say, once like the first couple of minutes pass, then it just kind of just becomes the game.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't really feel any different. It's only like once the game's over or whatever is when you're like back in reality and you realize you've been watched by a bunch of people. But yeah, I guess those are my experiences with being on camera and now on both sides of it.
That's awesome. I'm just so proud of both of you.
Yeah, wow.
I'm like,
It's been amazing. And I have a question from Amy Chu. This is for you, Kiki. I'm pulling out questions. So, do you have any future plans for the Rainbow Foil Discord in your community?
In regards to how to make that specific server grow, I don't really have any concrete plans. Like, I kind of just want it to like naturally go in its own direction, whatever. I'm kind of just there to make sure that nothing gets too out of hand, or if there's any issues, then I'll be there and I'll keep on championing it. And of course, I'll keep on like advertising it, whether it be on my own like personal page or any way I can. I'm just like, my goal is to be prominent so that I can be there for people that need this kind of space, which is why I wanted to do the commentary. It's why I try to be competitive. It's so that they can look to me, I guess, as a figurehead and be like, hey, I can go here to like be safe in this trading card space. And then hopefully other people will come up as well. And like the goal, I guess, is to make Flesh and Blood as a whole a more diverse and encouraging safe space.
yeah.
But you know, it'd be kind of nice if we could host events for them or something. Just down the line, maybe one day, if we could do some sort of like event. I do have a friend who's kindly given me some potential prize support for a future event, so we'll see. We'll try to work something out, whether it ends up being a prize event or if it ends up being some sort of giveaway. It's not a bad prize to have. But yeah, I guess that's
really
where to go
awesome.
from Rainbow Foils.
That is very cool. Thanks, Kiki.
All right. Do we have time for one more, Melody?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I'm going to ask this from Pat Smash from the Combat Chain. He says, Mara, you went through a murderer's row of competitors throughout your Nats run, putting away the likes of Chris Ray, James Silver, and Alex Ford. Did you feel any pressure when going up against some of these people, knowing how successful they've been in their own Flesh and Blood careers?
So it's always a little bit in both directions. Like whenever you pull up your pairings and you're like, oh no, that's a name I recognize, and you have some of these, especially somewhere like nationals where like we have some incredible players, and there's some incredible players that like we don't know the names of, but specifically like I say these really big name players, it's always a little bit more tense because you kind of go into this matchup and you're like, all right, I've got to be on my game. I've got to play the best I can play. And so it's always a little bit more nervous. But at the same time, I actually kind of prefer these games. Like I don't really want to go into a game and just be like, oh, I just kind of stomped this game and rolled over somebody and moved on to the next. Like sure, that gets you a little one in the win column, and that's nice, and that feels good for the tournament at hand. But like my goal overall in Flesh and Blood is not I want to win 2022 national champions and then that's it. Like my goal is like I want to be better at this game as a whole. I want to prove that like I can hang with these other big players and I can put up my own. And you don't do that by playing against, somebody that you're just like, oh, I just smashed this game. They didn't know what a dragon was and they'd never seen it before, so I just rolled over them. So like I actually kind of get a little bit excited when I play these games because I know these are going to be the good games. These are going to be the really close games. These are the ones where I'm playing against somebody who just really has a mastery of this game. And win or lose, I feel like I always walk away from those games better. I feel like I always learn something new, either from myself, like finding a deep line to get out of a bad situation, or like watching an opponent. I'm like, oh, they just pulled this crazy trick on me, and I didn't know that was a thing that their deck was capable of. So like, I it's always tense, but at the same time, I love those games. I would never turn down those kind of games. The challenge, the extra pressure, the opportunity to play against some of the best in the world is part of the reason that I like coming to these big events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel that. I played I don't know. When I get paired against someone who I really know, it stresses me out a lot. And I always misplay. Like I played against Michael Fang this weekend, and like it was a good game. I forgot my Phoenix flame though, because I just
no.
I sit down and I'm like so
Elaine!
focused on being like and like, but afterwards, like it's so nice to just be able to talk to them. These are players that have
Absolutely.
a lot more experience than me, and quite honestly put in a lot more work in the game than I do. So it's nice to just like be able to sit down and be like, hey, what did you think when I did this? Like, was that a good play? Like, where could I have gone
100%.
better? I also got to play against Josh Lau, was one of the Boltons that I played against this weekend. And like Josh Lau from the card games, he is like the warrior. He's like the face of the warrior class, in my opinion. He's just like very faithful to it, and I love that, especially as someone who loves warriors but does not play them at competitive events. Like I admire him a lot for that, and so like it's just really cool to play against such great players. But there is a lot of pressure that comes with it. So I think that your perspective is a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Um,
It's also just nice to make these contacts too. Like, you meet some of these players at these events, and then like it feels slightly less weird, like when you can chat with them and talk with them about like just even like, hey, we're both on Dromai. Let's talk Dromai strat for a little bit. Like
yeah.
how are you feeling about your deck? Like what changes did you make? How do you approach this matchup? Or like, even just like in other people, like with other matchups where you're like, I just like, I like being able to just be friends with these people. Like,
Yeah.
I like being able to just like message them and talk to them and be like, hey, we chatted at Nats. I want to ask you a couple of questions about your deck. And like, it's usually a lot less, at least it feels to me, it's always a lot less weird. Like if you were to like message some of these people out of the blue and be like, hey, we played at Nats and we talked for a while. I had some questions. Like, I'm considering
like
playing
just
Icelander. I want to ask you about your build, feels
yeah.
a little bit more normal than just like being like, hi, you don't know me, you've never met me, I just want to talk to you about your thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although that said, like I always get excited when completely random people just message me about like Dromai questions. So I don't know, maybe it's just the total opposite and I'm entirely wrong.
I don't know. I just like being like Michael Fang and I played at the Battle Hard in Dallas, and like he completely like remembered me. Like I saw him jot down my name like on the little player pad, and then after the game, he was like, "When will I see you again? Like I played you in Dallas last time. What's the next big event I'll see you at?" And like that was cool. And like Josh Lau and I have a Bolton on my keychain. Actually, thank you, Amy Chu, sent it to me for the Fab Global Gift Exchange. So like I was able to show him my Bolton, and then we both have like Bolton altars we like talked about, and Josh Lau actually top forward the ProQuest, the very first ProQuest I went to, like my very first time playing CC on Dorinthia. He top forward the ProQuest during the Starvo meta, and I was on Starvo, and like we talked a long time at that ProQuest because I was just like a little fab baby, and I was like, okay, let's like tell me about your deck, and he was so nice. So it's nice to be able to just build relationships with these people too. But that is all we have time for today. Thank you to everyone else who submitted listener questions, including yourself, Mara, and Greg, and Just Human that we didn't get to. But basically, to sum them up, it is Mara, what is it like to have a child that never goes to bed? And Kiki, when will you go to sleep? That's pretty much the rest of the questions. But it's been great talking to you guys today. I am glad we were just able to hang out, talk about our Nats experience. But yeah, Melody,
Thank you so much
anything?
for having us. This has been a blast.
It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are definitely two friends of the pod and two friends of myself by this point. So I loved this episode. Loved just sitting and chatting with friends. It feels like a family reunion part 2. Like these big events always feel like family reunions.
They really do.
So it's nice to just sit with friends and family and talk afterwards, catch up. Melody, do you have anything to add?
No. That's all. This has been great. Thank you for joining us. This was episode 11. Wow, we're getting coming so far, Elaine. Yeah, we do double digits now.
Aw.
That's crazy. All right. I think this is episode 12, actually.
Is it? Okay, episode 12?
I'm pretty sure it's episode 12.
Did Melanie sleep to 11?
Oh, just ignore me. Just ignore me.
Episode 11 is out late because it's the Nietzsche episode, and I was supposed to edit it on my laptop while I was in Charlotte, and I brought my laptop, but I didn't bring like my USB with the files that I needed to edit. So anyway, it's coming out.
So episode 12, everyone, just ignore me. Yeah, lucky number 12.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much, and have a great week. And I hope to see some of you, most of you, everyone except maybe Melody at Worlds. If I go to Worlds, we'll see.
I'll definitely be there.
Yeah. I have paid for half of it, so I hope I go
there.
Yay!
And karaoke at Worlds, or else.
Of course. Or else Blake gets in trouble for something.
Or else Blake will get in trouble for something.
So I think there's one last thing that I have to say before we sign off, or everybody will get mad. Kiki, go to bed.
Oh my
God. Kiki.
Yes, Kiki, please, as soon as we hang up, go to bed. Kiki messaged this morning before we recorded, was like, guess who hasn't slept? It's like, Kiki.
No, I tried. I was in bed for 3 hours, unable to sleep this time.
Yeah.
Like I was ready. Like I was gonna go to sleep at midnight, and then it was 3 a.m, and I still wasn't able to like turn off.
Kiki, that's not how time works.
Yeah, Kiki, go to bed.
Okay.
All right.
Please, each of you take a moment to plug yourselves, and then we'll let Melody go to work. So.
All right. So. Yeah, you can pretty much find me at Blackwing Studio on Twitter. I've got Blackwing Studio on Patreon, Blackwing Alters on Facebook, but mostly like Twitter. Twitter's generally like where I basically live. You can always shoot me a DM on that if you're looking for altar commissions, or just to ask Dragon Mom questions. Like I'm always happy to chat with anybody. It's great. I love our community. So.
Yeah.
That's pretty much
mine. Or if you need someone to tell Kiki to go to bed.
Yeah, if anyone else would like to tell Kiki to go to bed, I will allow anyone else who feels the need to ensure that Kiki gets to their bedtime.
I hope you get paid for this. Commissioned. I'd like you to commission one nap time, please. So I'm also mainly on Twitter. That's at Kiki_LA93. Oh my god. Yep, that's mainly where you can find me. You can also obviously find me on the Rainbow Foils Discord channel. So if you want access to that, you're welcome to hit me up in the DMs on Facebook or on Twitter. And I'll give you a little rundown, see if it's for you or not, and then we'll get you in there. Yeah. That's mainly where you can find me. You can find me at semi-nocturnal Kiki Bird on Instagram if you want. I do a lot of food reviews where I pretend to be fancy, but no,
I'm
I
gonna
just
go
really
find
like
that.
food. Yeah, and I guess just shout out to my teammates. Team Barely Functional. So that's just Kieran, Kasharan, and Xavier. They're cool people.
Yay!
Awesome.
Okay, thank you guys so much. We will.
Thank you for
see
having
you.
us.
Yeah, of course. This was fantastic.
This is
I
awesome.
loved it. Like
All right, we'll
probably
have-
the most chaotic episode we've already
Yeah.
done, but it's great.
Yes.
We'll have to do it
great
again
days
after
or
Worlds.
nights or whatever time it is. No, it's lunchtime, right? With you
Yes.
guys?
It's lunchtime.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mara Mara and I will go eat lunch. Kiki will go to bed, and Melody
And
will
I'll
go to
go-
work, and
yeah.
the world will be right. So, all right, all right, goodbye.
All right,
Goodbye.